Hi, everybody. Welcome to Plotter 101. We will get started in just a few seconds. Would somebody mind letting me know if you can hear me okay? If it's coming in loud and clear? And then we'll jump right in. Okay. Oh, good. Thank you, Vicki. All right. Well, guys, welcome to Plotter 101. And today I'm going to go over a whole lot of things with you. It's going to seem like a lot. I understand. I'm sorry, I'm getting rid of that screen because I'm not going to put it up just yet. I'm going to go over a whole lot with you, and this is all going to be on YouTube Live, which basically means that at the end of our conversation today, you will get a link. And so because you'll get that link and you can rewind it and take notes to your heart's content, what I suggest is that you just sit back and relax. I have learned that the hard way, that taking notes when something is very taught in a very intense, rapid manner will just end up confusing you more. I don't know if you've had that experience. So I always suggest people to sit back because you're going to learn a lot about Plotter from an intuitive kind of way if you do that. And I think it will alleviate any anxiety you might be feeling about a new program and learning a new program and all that. It isn't really hard, and there's a lot each feature has in common, so it will begin to make sense with you to you. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's what I suggest. The other thing, a bit of advice, is to go to plotter.com and put one of those demos. We have a lot of great demos. Put one of them on your plotter, and then you can play around with the things that I teach you on an already fully done bigger project, right? So that you can move things around and play around with all the features. It'll be a lot easier that way. All right. Also, the last 10 minutes or so, I will ask for questions. I generally don't read them in the chat, so that's why I don't want you to put them in chat until I tell you that it's time for questions, just because they can get lost and I don't want to miss your questions. But there's a good chance I'll answer them as we go along, maybe even inspire some new questions. All right, let's jump right in, okay? Okay, let's go back to this one. This is your dashboard. And if you have Plotter, then you've seen that this is the first thing that pops up on the screen, right? And what this is, it's the way to enter Plotter. It lists all of your projects you've ever written or done work on, as I have. This is my particular personal Plotter. And you can just access it from there. You can just double click on one of those and you'll go right into your timeline, which is where all the magic happens. As you can see at the top, it says create blank project. And create blank project is simply you click on it, name a project, and it gives you the start of it so that you can start filling in scene cards, etc. Create from template, I'm going to show you a little trick with that in a second. Open existing file and import file. Those are things like if you are working with another friend and that friend already has a project and you want to put it on your plotter, you might, upload it from your computer, or maybe you worked on it years ago with Plotter, stopped writing because you were depressed about writing. I don't know what happens, right? And then you're coming back. Now you're inspired again and you want to put it back on your plotter. That's how you do that. All right. So we're going to work on something right now together. We're going to write a book together. We're going to write a book, and I've already titled it. Sorry. It's called The Wonderfully Wild West. Do you see it there? It's the very first one on that list. Okay. I'm not going to actually open it because I already have it open. So let me remove this and I'll show you what it looks like. Just one second here. Okay. So this is a brand new project, so it really doesn't look like much at all, right? This is what it looks like. At the top, you'll see it has chapter 1. And if you want to add additional chapters, which I hope you do, because I've never heard of a book selling with just one chapter, you could click on the blue plus and you will have additional chapters. See? But another way you could do it, because Plottr has more than one way to do almost everything, that's what I love about it, is you could also, like if you're hovering over chapter 2, that little black plus comes up. See that right next to it? If you click on that, it's another way to add additional chapters. So either way works. This part that says main plot, this is where your scene cards are going to go. So you would put all the scene cards for chapter 1 here, all of them for chapter 2 here. And I'm going to show you how to do multiple scene cards in a little while. If you just want to do this, set it up just like this is the default, that's fine. You can do that. You don't have to do anything else. That would make sense, right? But of course, you're here to learn something. You're not here to do the basic thing. I'm just going to show you a little cool thing that I like to do. So you want to go over here to this structure. You see that where my cursor is? I know cursors move really fast in these classes, right above chapter 5. If you click on structure, you'll see that this is giving me the structure that's currently set up in the timeline. And we see that it's in default mode. And we see that there's one level. They've given us one level. And that one level is called chapter. And that's why you're only seeing chapter at the top. Let's play around with this a little bit. We can go up to 3 levels. So let's do that. I'm going to, next to the 1, I'm going to click on that black plus and I'm going to get level 2. See that? If I click on it again, I'm going to get level 3. Now, you will understand in just a couple minutes why level 3 is something you may want or you may not want. Let's say you put it in though, and then you change your mind and you don't want level 3. Well, then you'll go in and you will hit the minus sign and it will say, are you sure you want to delete? You'll say delete and it will go back down to 2 levels. But if you do want to delete a level, you want to do it through the timeline structure. The reason is you can think of it like this is the brain, all right? You want to change it in the brain. The brain is in charge of all of the timeline. Same thing goes with text color, border style, background color. It will affect the entire timeline. And guys, you should do that because it's really cool. It's nice to make it look your own. So I'm going to add 3 in again. And these 3 are called now scenes, chapters, and acts. Let's close this and see what this looks like. So what this is it's still in default mode. I'm going to show you another one in a second, but it's horizontal. And it's basically saying this is act 1 and this is chapter 1. And this is the first scene in chapter 1 and it's going to go right here. And scene 2 is going to go right here. I don't like it. It's not done yet. For me, I need to do a few more little tweaks for it. But before I show you the tweaks, I'm going to show you what if you want to change these? What if you don't want to call it scene 1, scene 2? What if you want to call it beat 1, beat 2? Well, again, you have to go back to the brain. And then you simply click on the word scene and write beat. Now, everything in this will be beats. We're in default mode. You can see right above Act 1 that, right? We're in default mode. If we click on that, we have 3 different modes we can choose from. Tabbed and stacked are another mode. A lot of people like stacked. I like stacked too. Tabbed I don't use as much. Tabbed is more of a specific kind of situation where you might use that. Let me show you what it does. First, I'm going to add 3 acts. And the 3 acts just are over here so you can see. But I just added them by clicking on it and clicking on the black plus there, right? Okay. So if we go to tabbed mode, it'll look like this. Exactly the same, except Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 are up here. The kind of situation where you would use tabbed is if you are putting, let's say you put in, you're all done with your book or you've just put in a really long project, 80 scene cards are already on there and you're revising them now and you're trying to clean things up. And you want to move real fast between Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3 instead of shuffling over for 80 cards. You can use it for that purpose. I like stacked better. And the reason I like stacked better is because, I'm just adding a few to show you this, because it makes more sense to me. It's saying, okay, guys, here's Act 1. Act 1 has chapter 1. By the way, if I get rid of these beats, it'll make this smaller. So let me do that for you real quick so that you can see it a little better. Okay, there we go. Okay, so Act 1 has 3 chapters in it. Act 2 doesn't have any yet, but it will in a second, and Act 3 doesn't have any. Let's say chapter 3, I decide that that's actually the start of Act 2. It's a short book. If I just hold it down and drag it up here and drop it, it will drop it right below Act 2. I can do the same thing with Act 3. I would carry it over right above Act 3, drop it, and it would show up there. That's how you move those chapters around. This makes more sense to me personally because I can clearly see, okay, now there's 2 chapters in Act 1 and there are 4 beats in Act 1. And then I can go on and see the other ones. I don't know if everybody has that same feeling as I do, but that's why I use stacked. Okay, we are almost done with setting this up. In reality, this will take you 30 seconds maximum. I'm going slow because I want to explain it to you so you really understand it. It's not complicated. Very, very quick thing to do. This third level is what we're going to talk about now. Remember I said before, I told you that you may or may not want the third level? Well, to me, the third level only serves a purpose if they are actual beats. Just having the word beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, or scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, it means you have to spread it out this way. And maybe you want to do it that way, but I do it a little bit different. So I'll show you the way I do it. I'm not going to change anything about the beats up here in the structure button because anything I do in structure, the brain is going to do the whole timeline and will affect all the beats. Right now, I want to name the individual beats. So I have to hover over the individual. And I'm hovering over beat 1, and you'll see what pops up above it is the edit button and the trash can. If I hit trash can, this will delete. But be aware that if you have scene cards below it, everything below it will also delete. So if you want to delete, don't do it that way. Either do it in structure to delete the whole entire level, or you can do what I'm about to do. So I'm hovering over beat 1. I'm editing it. And I want to use my own template. So let's pretend that Plottr doesn't have a template like this. So beat number 1 and maybe under beat number 2, I just clicked on it. I might call this catalyst. And maybe beat number 3, I might call plot point 1. All right, whatever it is. All of these will be your beats. Now, anything I put here is going to be in Act 1, going to be in Chapter 1, and going to be in the setup beat. Here, well, I spelled catalyst wrong. Act 1, Chapter 1, and in the catalyst. And again, I can simply carry plot point 1 over to here and I can drop it and it will show up in Act 2. It's bothering me that it says, because I'm like a perfectionist. I got to fix catalyst. There we go. Okay, that's great. If you want that to be your own beats, that's what the third level is for. But if you decide to use one of Plottr's many templates, you can go back to structure and you can simply go down a level, and you might have to change these names, but because it doesn't necessarily take the level out that you want it to. But that's how you would get rid of that third level. For now, we'll keep it because I'm going to show you something else. This main plot, if you hover over it, you have a whole lot of icons that come up. See that? You can change the name. If you want to change it, you could change it to scene cards. You could change it to anything you want. You can also play around with the color. So like I love hot pink. So I'm going to call it hot pink. And there you go. Looks cool, right? And you can also do some other things, which I will show you in a minute. Right now, what I want to, this is the timeline. It's set up. It's ready to go. But if you guys are going to write a series, and even if you're not going to write a series, it'd be really great for you to pay attention to this because you never know when somebody's going to say, hey, I want this to be a series. So let's go here. Do you see we're in timeline? You see how that's whited out up here? We're going to go next door to it, to the project. Project is yet another way you can enter into your project too. You don't have to do it through the dashboard. Project, though, only lists the current one you're working on. And here it is, the Wonderful Wild West. And it's cute because it moves around, right? You can also do some things like change its name here, duplicate it, which I'll show you why you would do that in a second. And you can even choose an image. So let me show you what I mean by choose an image. So my daughter did this for me. She made a quick little image, took her about 35 seconds, and she put my title of my book, my name. She made me a cover. Isn't that cute? And she made me an award as well, because that's just so cute. Okay, let's go back to where we were. Okay, so we're back to the Wonderful Wild West. Let me just, I'm trying to get all this out so you can see it. There we go. If you want to write a series, you're going to want to add what I call series placeholders. You don't have to know the title. You don't even have to know the first thing about what goes in those series books. But it's a really good idea to set them up, because if that's your intention, because as you're filling out things like characters or places or research cards for the Wonderfully Wild West, you're probably going to think, oh, that belongs also in book 2, or that belongs in book 3, but not book 2. Okay, maybe the character Jack is in the Wonderful Wild West and doesn't come back until book 4. So how do we add placeholders? I know you guys are thinking, oh, I'm getting this. I bet you clicked that blue plus. And you would be partially right. The thing about the blue plus is it does give you another book placeholder. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't duplicate the coding that we just put in, that 3-act structure from the first one. It's not a big deal. You could easily add it to each book, but why do extra work? Also, there's another reason you have to do that. If you have that special coding thing in the first book, you have to have it in all your series books, because that coding is what it looks for in order to share information. To take that Jack character card and share it with book 3, it's going to both have to have that 3-act structure with acts and scenes and that part. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to use the blue plus and I'm going to call it, I don't know, main plot, let's say. I'm going to save it. And when I open it, there's not going to be any coding there. See, it's back to the default. That means that when I go in, I try to share a character with main plot, it'll say, you need the same coding, you need the same format. And then I'll be like, oh, and I'll have to go into main plot and add it in. Then I can share. So I'm going to show you an easier way. This duplicate button, because that takes the coding with it. We click on it, and here's our second book, and we can call it Series 2. So I'm so creative that way. All right. And Series 2, because we duplicated it, does have the same structure. So good old Jack can be shared with this one, but right now can't be shared with this one. So that's how the duplicate key works. And you can fill this stuff up here as you wish. Let's go into main plot for a second, since it's simple and it'll be less distracting for us for a second. So we are in this, and I want to show you that timelines have these things along the left called plot lines. And plot lines are very useful for a number of different reasons. First off, you can choose your template that way to help you figure out your beats. Let's look at use template. Let's click on it. What we have here, ignore the top part, I'll explain that in a minute. We have starter templates, and these are all the templates that will help inform your all the beats in your entire story. For example, if you're writing an Indiana Jones type book, you might choose hero's journey or heroine's journey if it's Indiana Jones's girlfriend. Horror beat sheet, you know? This is all like genre specific, and it really helps you guide you so that you have an idea. This is not meant to be formulaic. It's meant to inform you, because you have to be informed about something before you can break the rules. Somebody once told that to me in a screenplay contest. They said, It was a really nice compliment, but he said, I can tell you know all the rules of screenwriting because you broke them in a certain way that was interesting. So that kind of stuck in my head. You can also go down and you can do, if you're writing a romance journal, a romance story, there's a romance here, 7 romantic beats, romancing the beat, romance beat sheet. You have lots of options. But what are these you're saying? Because I know you're like, I don't know what these things are, and I get it. So let's click on action, adventure, plot. Well, what happens is when we click on it, it tells us, it gives us a brief idea. So we can just look at a glance and say, yeah, yes or no. So I'm looking at this and I'm seeing like, okay, I see a damsel, and a henchman. Remember those wax mustaches? And, oh, wait, maybe that's the villain. I don't know. I'm getting them confused. If I don't know what this is, though, let's say I don't. Let's say it's some esoteric plot device thing I don't know. I can go up and I can click on this eye up here at the top, and it will take me out of Plottr to an article that will inform me about this so that I can make an informed decision. But, I just looking at this, and really it looks fine to me for our cowboy novel. So I'm going to choose it. I'm going to click the orange choose button, and magic starts to happen. These little boxes, each one contains information. If you hover over any box, anytime, any place, you can see what's in it. You don't even have to click. But let's click and go inside. This is what the inside of the card looks like. And it's telling us, okay, this is the beginning of Act 1, and it's giving us some guidelines as to what this hero circumstance beat is. Now, all first beats are more or less variations on the setup beat. So it's going to have similar things you're probably familiar with, such as setting up the character and showing their unique personality and what's working in their world, what isn't working in their world, etc. And then down at the bottom, you'll see breakdown. And I want you to pay attention especially to the second one. The hero's circumstance comprises approximately 8 to 10% of the story. I don't know why, but the first time I saw that, I was like, what is wrong with this plotter? Why are they telling me that? Like I have any idea how long my book is. I haven't written it yet. That's actually for revision, okay? Because at some point you're going to be done with Plottr. You're going to write your book, and you're still going to be using Plottr a lot. And you're going to click in and you're going to say, hero circumstances no more than 10%. My cowboy novel is 200 pages long. So 10% is 20 pages, which means I have 20 pages or less, plus or minus. Again, it's not formula. I have 20 pages or less in which to do the setup beat called hero's circumstance. If you look at your book and you see that page 50, you're still setting things up and there hasn't been a catalyst moment yet, then you know you got a problem. Your pacing is off. That's what that's for. At the top, you'll see add your details above this line. Some people think this is where they want to put their scene cards, but do not put them within this. And within the template, it's really hard to get out. You have to copy and paste into a Microsoft Word document, or don't do it. That's not what this is for. What this is for those people that like to customize things and make them their own. So let's say that you're reading a book at night called How to Write a Cowboy Bestseller. And in that book, you learn something really amazing. And you look here and you don't see it because this is only like a general guideline, right? And you're like, okay. So you read that all of your heroines should be named L.B. Schulman for your book to sell. That seems reasonable, right? So what you can do is simply click in here, think, and you can write L.B. Schulman, blah, blah, blah. All right. Then when you can close it and it will save. There's a caveat to the part that I said it will save. So let me close it. You can do that all the way across. You can make all of these cards your very own. Make them exactly the way you want it. But then when you go to the dashboard and you start a brand new project one day and you say, you know that action adventure plot template I did? I really like that. I'm going to use it again. And you go and you pull up a new template. It will have reverted back to this basic template. Where are your notes? Okay, well, I'm going to show you how to customize it. Once you are done with this entire action adventure plot and it looks exactly the way you want it with all your notes, you can simply hover over action adventure plot and you can duplicate it. Now there's going to be 2 of them. The second one, we're going to move it. Okay, we're going to move it. So the first thing I have to show you is I'm going to go into project again. I'm going to add I'm going to do, I'm going to duplicate it again. I'm going to call this book 3 because I need to do the coding so I can share. Okay, so we have book 3 here, right? It's got the same coding as these two, but it has nothing really much in it. It's just there for the sake of a place for us, our process of customizing the template. Let's go back to the wonderful Wily West. And oops, I think I did that in main plot. Sorry. Let's go into main plot. Okay, and we're going to take this duplicated default template, and we're going to go over here to the right. And if we hover over it, it pops up and tells us move plot line, move plot line. We're going to move plot line. And series, why is it saying, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm confusing myself here. I'm wondering if anybody can figure this out because it takes a hot second to figure it out. Why are these grayed out? If you don't know, it's okay because it's a bit of a brain twister and I'm going so fast and I know that. But the reason it's grayed out is because we didn't copy that same coding over. Remember, this is the one that we just used the blue plus sign for. So it's saying you have to do that before. See, if I hover over it, you can only move plot lines to books with the same number of structure levels. So let's just pretend that we did do that. Then I would be able to click on book 3. What would happen is this second one would move just like you told it to. It would disappear. Now this one would still be here for you to use on your book, but this one would be over here. Sorry, we'd probably move it to, let's say, book 3. That's the one that we're using, the blank one, right? You'd move it over to book 3. And then when you open up book 3, the only thing that will be there is a duplicate of your beautiful new template. Let's open it up. And you could delete all this stuff or whatever you have up here so that all you have is your beautiful template. Then what you'll do is you'll go up to these 3 little dots right here. Click on it and it'll save as template. And you'll name it My Favorite Template. And that will be it. But what will happen is the next time you go and you start a new project and you click on Use Template, you will have a new category up here called My Templates. And that's where they'll live forevermore. These templates here were originally starter templates that I made fancy. I suited them to myself. I actually use these all the time now because they're my favorite templates. And that is the way that you do it. I wanted to take the time to explain that to you. I know it's a really complicated process to hear when you're new to this. It's very quick to do once you're used to it. But that's how from then and forevermore, no matter which project you ever do, if you go to dashboard, you could create from blank project and add a template, or you could create from template. If you click create from template, you could just simply choose it that way and it will set up automatically. And you can do the same thing, I think, with that 3-act structure. You could set that up as your permanent template. Okay, let's go back here for a second. I'm going to get out of this and show you one more thing. Because playing and all that, I took down what we were just working on. Okay, here we go. All right. Oops. Sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. Just one sec. Okay, and stop screen and share. I shared the wrong file. Let me go here. And I will share. I see what the problem is. I have to open up Wily West again. Now we'll be back in there. Okay, so we're back in our book. Here it is. So as I showed you before, the use template, right? Well, what's this little plus next to it? Well, this is what adds those things that I told you before are called plot lines. Plot lines can be used for anything you want, and there's many creative applications to them. And if you research a little bit, I'm sure you can find them online and people will have to help you. But I'll show you what I use them for mostly is multiple point of view characters. So let's say I have two characters in my book and I'm clicking on it. One is named Jack, as I said before, and the other one is named Vicky because Vicky was nice enough to give me a sound check. So she's now in my book. You're the heroine. You're the damsel in distress. So Jack and Vicky are in my book. While I put scene cards up here, and these look like scene cards too, I use these scene cards for something different. I use these to track the character arc of a character. So I might say plot point 1, I'll click plus, and I might write here greedy, because something happens to Jack that makes him a little bit greedier. And then I might go into the card, which I'll show you in a second, and add a little bit of detail about what was that event that made Jack greedier. And in this way, I can track his growth or his lack of growth. I can track it in this. So not every one of these is going to have a change, but maybe every 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever will have a change. And the same goes with Vicky. I can track Vicky's character arc growth. Another thing I might use a plot line for is calendaring. That's a way of tracking that this scene card right here, which I'll show you, takes place on July 12th, which is Thursday, 2 p.m. It's really good to calendar because we're constantly as writers putting in time tags without even realizing it. We'll be like, okay, 3 days later, this happened. And we're not really paying attention to the calendar, are we? Well, that can really mess you up because somebody might be paying attention. Maybe you're writing about winter and you've only gone forward 2 weeks and suddenly you're having, flowers blooming and people running around in t-shirts and shorts, and you didn't realize that. Well, this is going to help you track it. You're going to be able to see exactly. Not only that, but you're going to be able to see, oh my gosh, it's Christmas. My character should not be going to the discotheque on Christmas night. So that's really a smart thing to do. Otherwise, you're going to be doing it when you revise before, sending it out. And boy, does that take a lot longer to do if you do it that way. Another thing you might use this for, last idea, I have more, but this is the ones I'm going to share, are clues. If you're writing a mystery novel, right? In plot 1 or in scene card 1 or scene card 2, maybe we have a clue that there was a gun left on the table. And maybe over here in the callous beat in scene 5, another clue is a pipe was left in burning in the smoking jacket. Okay, wait, that's not really a cowboy novel. The cowboy hat was left in the horse stall. That sounds suspicious, don't you think? So this is how we could track those clues. It's really a good idea because you can see just at a glance, oh my gosh, I had 3 clues in scene 2, and then I didn't have any more clues until scene 8. And that's weird. I mean, like I should spread them out a little bit more even-handedly. You'll find all kinds of information from this. And that is how this works. Now, one more thing I'm going to show you, and then we're going to move on to one of our demos. If you go here under scene cards, which we used to say main plot. Remember, I changed the name. If we go here, we can click on plus and add a scene card. Let's say it's a setup beat. So Jack loses his best horse because things always go wrong in the beginning, right? And maybe I want to add another scene. Well, if I hover over this, you'll notice that little blue plus right below it. That allows me to add an additional scene under the setup beat. And I can do that indefinitely, by the way. So I'm going to add another one. And this one I'm going to say, Vicky gets a divorce. Sorry, Vicky, but it's a setup beat. We don't want everything going right. Okay, so Vicky gets a divorce. And I hope that didn't touch a raw nerve. In my case, it would have. All right. So we can go in and we can click on it. And let's see what we have inside. Let's click on Vicky gets a divorce. All right. We could change the name up here. maybe divorce is not good here. So Vicky gets a new cow. That sounds really like a boring story, but okay. Here in description, you can type all about your new cow, Vicky's new cow, and what happens. Where did Vicky get it? What does Vicky feel about that new cow, etc., etc. If you are a pantster, you know, plotters and pansters. If you're a pantster and you're a discovery writer and you only want to have the beats figured out so you know where to go the next day, and it's going to be a much more structured piece right from the very get-go. That's what Plottr does. It's going to save you a heck of a lot of time on the revision end. Well, then this might be all you have, or maybe even less. But if you are a plotter and you do really want to get into your scene and like what are the motivations of the different characters, you feel free. You can do 75 pages here if you want. My scene cards are often at least a page long. So you can do whatever you want. And up here you can control how it looks, bold, italics, the font, bullet points, pictures even, links. You can do all these things here. On the left-hand side, you see where it says book. It's telling us that we're in this. But let's say we're typing out this card, and actually I realize all of a sudden that it's actually more of Vicky's character arc card. It's not really a plot card. I can click here, and I can simply go down, and I can, oh no, I'm sorry, not there. Here is where I can go down, and I can switch to any of the books that I put in my series book holder. So if I decide Vicky gets a new cow, and I decide, oh, you know what? I don't want that in this one. I think that would be better in book 3. I could pick it there. Plot line is where I'm talking about. I could move it to Vicky, and it will disappear from this scene card line, also main plot. It will disappear from there, and it will show up under Vicky as a character arc card. This isn't something I use, but you're welcome to. If you decide to move it to chapter 3, you can. I actually prefer to do something much simpler, which is to simply drag and drop. Let me close this down. Hold it down, drop it. Hold it down, drop it. You see, you have maximum flexibility there. I can put it back where it goes also as well. Okay, let's go back into Vicky. Characters, places, and tags, we'll get to that. And color is something that you can do. You can look up some of the videos on there. There's some really cool ones about different things you can do with color, but essentially you can color each scene card so that you know where you are in the writing process or the revision process, and you can track it. Let's close this down now. Okay, I think we've done enough with this one. So let's leave this. Let's leave this and let's go into our demo. Our demo today is the 3 little pigs, as you could see before when I put it up too early. All right, let's go over to the timeline for the 3 little pigs, because we are in the character tab. Do you see how the character tab is white? That's telling me I'm in the character tab. If I go back to timeline, now I'm in the timeline. Let's go back into one of those cards. Here we have a pantster. See, only one line. I also wanted to explain to you what these things are at the top. So we're in description right now. Attributes are things that you want to ask yourself for every single scene card. And you can hit this blue configure and add them. See? Our author already added weather, point of view, and time of day. Don't ask me why. I don't know. But every single scene card I open up, at this top, if I click on attributes, I will be able to answer this question. Another thing is templates. Templates are, you already saw templates, right, in the timeline. That was for the whole book. The templates here are for the whole scene, but it only is for each individual scene, because templates help you get to know the scene better, and scenes are different. You might want to know different things about them. So if you click on add scene and you go to goal, motivation, and conflict, for example, let's choose it. And let's go back to description. When you come in, this is what it will look like. It's just hidden. It's tucked up nice and neatly here. It doesn't bother you. You could click on attributes and see something for every single scene card, or you could click goal, motivation, and conflict and fill it in for this scene. If you decide you don't want it, you can remove template. No problem. Easy, right? Okay, so let's go and leave this for 1 second. I want to show you the next one. I've shown you project. I've shown you timeline. Now we're going to talk about outline. Outline is really easy. It's simply, oops, I see why I did that. Let me get rid of that. It's simply like what we call an English paper version of all your scene cards. Nothing different, but it allows you to read it. It's straight through like a book. Instead of opening up each scene card on the timeline, it's really a quick, easy way for you to see if things make sense. So you're reading this and everything makes sense. And then all of a sudden you're like, uh-oh, lives happily ever after. Uh-oh, that's twice. And plus, I don't even have anything filled out. I better fill something out. By the way, if you fill anything out here, it will automatically update to the timeline and vice versa. So that's something you can do. It's a great way to spot holes in your book. You might say, oh my gosh, I did not transition to this. I need to add another scene card. So it's a good step to take. These search buttons, which show up almost all everywhere now, let's say that I remember, oh, there's a scene. I wanted to add carrot. They're making soup. The pigs are making soup. But I want to add that it's carrot soup. That's really important to my plot. Well, I'm going to type in the word soup. And then what's going to happen is the only card that has soup, it looks like, is the midpoint. And lands in boiling pot of soup, it's carrot soup. Now I can edit it. And I can even put in the recipe for carrot soup. Because, you know, all these books are, it's really cool when they have that sidebar with a recipe. Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. Okay, so that's what this is for. And if you want to get rid of it, just delete it. It goes right back. You can play with these things on the left. They do all kinds of fun things. And next up, we're going to go to notes, which is right here. Notes are where your research goes. Okay, research is really the fun part, or one of my favorite parts. It's how I avoid writing. So there's two ways to get a note card. One is the black plus, just like everywhere else. Remember I said it's intuitive? But they actually give you another way to do it because they just like to give you more than one way. So you could also click on new right here. So let's click on it and we get a brand new card. Let's say we're researching pigs under stress. How do pigs act under stress? This is my research. Well, pigs tend to sweat and they smell really bad. Okay, category. What is this? Take a moment and look at the left-hand side. See research I need to do later. See pre-writing research. See 1904. Those are categories. And within those categories are your research cards. It's a way of organizing it. So wolf behavior under stress. We have that one already under research I need to do later. Pigs under stress. You know, maybe I get really into it. I finish the scene card. But you know, the pigs are actually under stress in 1904 because this is actually a story about time traveling pigs. So I'm going to go over to category and I'm going to click it. I'm going to look at my options. There's 1904. I'm going to click 1904. Oh, what happened? Let's look. There it is, 1904. And there it is, pigs under stress. What is this? How do you actually get a category? Well, the way you get categories is really pretty easy if you look around. Categories right above the blue plus. Let's click on it. These are all the categories he added. And I might add another category and click add. Now I have another way to file it. That's how you get categories. And by the way, if you decide that there shouldn't be stressful pigs in 1904, you can simply go over and delete it right here. What is the source? That's not on yours because I happen to know it's an attribute. This time, in some cards, attributes show up right on the card just because there was enough room for it. So let's go up here above the word notes to attributes. And there you see, he added source. Why did he add the word source? Well, because for pigs under stress, he got that all from the library. He's old-fashioned, you know, he went to the library and he read a whole entire 585-page novel, or not novel, but research book on exactly how pigs show their stress levels. So he's going to put that there. Now, you and me might use URLs for articles. If you're like me, you probably do a lot of that. Well, how do we do it? We are not going to put in our source. What we can do is we can say, oh, fact one is this line. I'm going to highlight it a little bit. And I'm going to go over here to the link command right above it. See it right here? If I click link, I can copy and paste that URL in and click OK. And it will highlight this fact. In this way, if you go and start another book and come back to this book 15 years from now, it's not going to be that, assuming your article is still up, which it probably will be, because nothing dies on the internet, as we found out. You could click on that link and it will take you to that article. Now, this is very useful, not just for the purposes, like if you're writing nonfiction, it's really useful because you can see exactly, you don't have to be, remember, you don't have to get to copy and paste those long URLs in another folder so that you can put it at the end in your bibliography. You'll have it all right here, really easy. But there's another reason. So let me go here for 1 second. If you click here and let's say that this is linked, it's linked to your article, and then you're actually writing this scene now. It's like a year later, and you look at it and something doesn't make sense, which always happens in my notes. Something doesn't make sense, and I'm always wanting to go back and look at the article again. If you don't have that, then you're going to be going to Google and searching up that fact and looking through 20 articles to find the one that you actually had found originally, if you can, but not anymore, because this is going to make it super speedy, quick for you to find it. Here are books. That plus sign allows you to say, this research card, I want to share it. I want to share it with 3 Little Pigs. So I'm going to click that. I don't think it's relevant to Return a Mother Pig, but I do think I'd like it in Wolf Strikes Back. So I'm going to click on that again, click Wolf Strikes Back. This is telling me that automatically this card, when you go up to project and you go over to that 3rd book in your series placeholders called The Wolf Strikes Back, this card will be waiting there for you. It's really cool psychologically, because when you get to that book, if you're sharing properly, you will have a lot of stuff in there already populated and you won't have to do it. Characters, you have to fill out a character card in order to have this work. But if you click on the plus, you get the characters that are over in the character area. And you could say, okay, this research card is about pig number 3. I don't do that. I don't really think it's all that useful. And same with places, not for research cards. Tags, we're going to get to that. Don't worry. Okay, next up, let's close this. Let's go to characters, everybody's favorite. You can do the same thing, new or plus. If we do plus, we get a new character card. You see, we've made some categories. We've created categories, main, victim. I think there's going to be bacon in this story. And I like bacon. Okay, that works for me. And killer, because what story for children doesn't have a killer in it? So we're going to name our new character pig number 5243. We're going to categorize him as yet another, no, we're going to categorize him as the red herring. There we go, red herring. Character thumbnail. This is cool because let's say you have a real person like Vicky in my other story. And I want to, of course, make Vicky be this drop dead, gorgeous redhead because, of course, all Vickies have red hair in cowboy novels. So I can go to Google and I can search good looking 35-year-old cow woman, whatever the word is, cowgirl, red hair. And I can get the perfect Vicky. And then I can upload it right here. And then when I'm writing and anytime I need to see my Vicky, I can just come look at her and I can use it for description. Pretty cool, huh? And attributes and templates, the same as all the other areas. Attributes, everything you want to see in every single character card. In this case, these are the things that was important to the writer. Template, again, that's only for every single character card. The reason, again, that templates are only for every single one is that let's choose character bio. Look at all these things. You might want to know that for your lead character, which is whatever it is, pig number 1, but maybe you don't really need to know that for the hotel doorman that shows up in chapter 8, right? So that's why it's for individual ones. And they're great templates. Look through these. The character ones are awesome. A lot of good stuff. Even some Dungeons and Dragons are in here, little character things for that. which has nothing to do with your writing probably, but it's for fun. Enneagram, you can give your characters a test. All of these things are so cool, and you should definitely play around with them. The other thing characters has that the other areas don't have is this at the top. It puts the books right there. And the reason is because we found with characters that people want to move around quickly. So maybe we go over to the Wolf Strikes Back. We might want to, because we think of a character for that book, we want to add it. But then we're really working on Three Little Pigs. So we go back to Three Little Pigs. So that's what that works. And same with search. You can search anything and it will pop up for your characters. Oh, wow. I just noticed something, you guys. Okay, I need to take a hot second to tell you something. So Plottr is amazing. Like they have a team that's working. It seems like round the clock, quite frankly, because I live in Barcelona, Spain. And if I ask a question, somebody gets back to me right away. I don't know how this works, but it's so cool because character list right here and family tree right here are brand new. Never seen them before. I know we just released the family tree thing and it is really nice and you should take a look at it. And it's not that expensive and maybe purchase it particularly if you have like one of those epic dramas like with, first cousins and second cousins and so forth. It's really nice way to develop everything out and keep it in front of your face. Character list. I'm not sure what that is. See, this is brand new. And this happens almost every time. Like new features are posted before I'm even told about them. They're working really hard and they listen to your comments and they fix things and put things up all the time. Okay, places is the same deal. You get the hang of this now, right? Same exact thing. I don't think I have to go over places. And then we get to tags. So I ignored tags, you guys. I ignored it a lot for like the first year and a half. And I ignored it because I was like, oh, that's too complicated. I don't understand it. It's so easy and it's so useful. Whew, okay, so let me show you what I mean. You can do a category for tags. In this case, the author did theme, pacing, and emotions. That's what he wanted to track. He gets to decide. And then he used this plus sign to add these. Hard work, laziness, danger, safety. That's what he thinks his themes are. Pacing, slow, medium, and fast. Well, he hasn't written the book yet, so how could he possibly know? Well, it's because you know. All right, you're writing a scene card about, a girl, a cowgirl staring across the room at a cowboy in a restaurant. It's probably a slow pace thing, right? Well, why does he want to track that? Well, this is an example of how customizable tags are. His particular problem, I happen to know, is that he has too many slow scenes in his books. He found that out when he was sending it to agents, and he kept getting that comment that we all hate. This is a bit too quiet for the market. I think that's like secret language for maybe too many slow scenes. I don't know that for a fact, but that's my gut. So he wants to track because he wants to make sure that he's not making the same mistake with this book. Emotions, hope. Maybe he has a character or characters or the whole story is super depressing. He has to consciously tag the scene cards that show hope so that he can kind of not depress the reader too much. Okay, now that we have these tags, let's talk about what you do with them. We're going to go back to the timeline. And what we're going to do is every single scene card, not the stuff in the character arc area, scene cards. He has to tag every single one when appropriate. If he does not do that, this will not work. So let's open up the first scene card. He has tagged it with the theme of safety, the theme of laziness, and he says it's a slow scene. Okay, good. The next one. He says it's a medium-paced scene, and it's got the theme of danger and the theme of safety. Great. So if he continues to do that with all of his tags, then one day when he's all done, he can go over here to filter. Right below Three Little Pigs on the far left side is the word filter. And if you open it up, it automatically populates with every character that you've done and every place that you've done and every tag that you've done and every attribute. You can search anything to see what you've got. So let's say he wants to see, do I have too many slow scenes? And he clicks slow. What happens is all the scenes he put as slow show up here. Well, if you asked me, I'd say he has a pretty big problem. Because look at that. His very first scene is slow. No, that shouldn't be that way. And then he was so obsessed with making everything intense that he just made everything too high paced. Look, he's going to lose his readers because at midnight, when they're reading and they're really into the book, they're going to get tired of the constant intensity and want to go to sleep and put it down. So that's not good. And then you can click on timeline as filtered to go back. You can also choose more than one thing at a time. I could say, I want to know all the fast cards that take place in Mother's house with pig number 1. All right. And you see these things come up and other things gray out in the background. So that's how filter works. And it's very, very useful. You will get all kinds of cool information out of that. For example, let's say that he filtered for the theme of safety. This is not supposed to be here with this one. I'm going to get rid of it because I'm showing you a different way. Okay, so I just pretend this one isn't here. It's only these ones. Well, what he's doing is he's saying, okay, the theme of safety is the first card and the second card, the first scenes, right? Then he forgot that he was doing the theme of safety, I guess, because there isn't any more. Oh, there's one way over here and that's it? Not much of a theme, is it? So either he has to add more safety elements into the story, or he has to get rid of his theme of safety. So this is the sort of thing that it can inform you about. Really nice, right? Over here we have LMS. That's simply the size of how you look at things. But L is generally, oops, let me unfilter that. L is generally what you're going to use when you want to work in your scene cards. Or if you have really good eyes, M you might use because you can see more. And again, just hover over it and you can see what's right inside it. And small is super cool for revision. When you're ready to revise, I can tell here, for example, he happened to tell me, hey, Lisa, pig number 3 is like my main pig. That's the pig, man. That's the pig that gets the killer, that saves the bacon, all of that. So, but the problem he has here in small, you can see, is he has a scene card for pig number 3 in the setup beat, one for pig number 3 in the debate beat, and one in the midpoint, and no more. What happened to pig number 3? I thought pig number 3 was supposed to be a big deal. That's going to inform him he needs to add some more scene cards in here. So that's what that's for. And of course, this is just moving around. You can move around fast this way. But you can also just go like this. And, it's really just the same. But of course, if you have a really long document, maybe that's useful. Search and timeline is really, really useful too. If I write soup, I can see it. Although I would prefer it be on this line because it's a scene card. This guy, he didn't do a very good job with this. He was not me. So I'm going to get rid of soup now. All right, see, there's soup right there. I moved it up. Over here on the far right side, next to structure, which we already learned about, we have this arrow. And what pops up is MS Word and Scrivener. These are writing software. And this is the way that if you want to take one of your cards, say, and move it to your writing software because you want to reference it while you're writing, you could. But always go to advanced. And because you don't want all this stuff over there. You want to click what you want and declick what you don't want. And then let's say I'm working over here in Scrivener. I could click Scrivener. I could click orange go button. And it'll say, okay, where's your book? And you'll say, oh, my book is on my desktop. And it will take these cards and it will move it into that software. I think it's a little messy myself. It's not my favorite feature personally. I'm just sharing with you, like, for me, right? I don't really need that. And for a long time, I thought maybe that's what people are doing to back up their work. And guys, you don't have to do that. You see, Plottr is backing up all the time. They back up every time you sign on for the day. And guess what? They back up every time you sign off that same day. So if you were to lose something, let's say you accidentally deleted a scene card, you decide you didn't want it and you deleted it. And then 2 hours later, you realize, oh my gosh, I want that. I need that scene. Now I know why. I have to put it back. Well, if you just deleted it, you can obviously go up to redo and it'll pop right back. But if you think you've really lost it, don't freak out because you've got those backups for the same day in Plottr and you can go there, click it, and it will come back. And you can play around with it that way. The last thing I'm going to teach you, and then I'll take some questions. So if you start to have questions, maybe you could pop them into the chat. is these are our books, right? And it's a way we can move between them. But what is at the top is something called Three Little Pigs series view. So let's look at that. This is what we call sort of a version of the series Bible. And in this case, he set it up. Again, it's customizable. There's all kinds of ways to set it up that you can learn about if you just look into YouTube and stuff. But what he's doing here is he's going to put the scene cards, but not for the individual books. He's already done that in the individual books. These are the setup, callus, debate for the entire overarching series, you see? Because the beats not just apply to individual books, they also apply to the whole series when you're doing really strong plotting. Then the second line, the plot line here, it says the three pigs. That's just telling me that the three little pigs is going to be released in, looks like the setup and callus beat. And then the return of Mother Pig is going to be released when we reach the overarching debate beat. He also put something from The Wolf Strikes Back. Fine. Here he added, looks like a template that he enjoyed. Yeah, so that's pretty much what that is. And you can play around with that as you want. The only thing I would tell you is when you're done, go back to the three pigs, because otherwise next time you log on, this is what you're going to see. And that happened to me one time and I freaked out because I thought I lost all my scene cards. It took me a little bit of time to figure it out. So I always go back to the three little pigs. It went back to default. And that's just because I'm showing you so many fancy things. But I could go stacked and it would return right back to my stacked, the way I like it. And so, guys, that is what I'm here to teach you. It was enough, right? It was a lot. I know. It is a lot. But remember, you get the YouTube link at the end. You can slow it down. You can look at it again and play with it. Put a demo on your Plottr so you can play. You can drag things around. You can play around with customizing templates and all those great things. Okay, let's look at some questions. And it's okay if you don't have questions. I've thrown a lot at you. And I'm also going to tell you what happens when inevitably at the end of this class, we all say goodbye, and then you have a question. That's always how it is, right? Okay, Vicky, is there a template for books written like listicles, articles in list form? Ooh, that's cool. I never heard that before. Listicles, articles in list form. Like John C. Maxwell writes. I have no idea, Vicky. I think you're just going to have to, because I've never heard of that before, but that sounds cool. Is that like for I assume that's for nonfiction? That's really cool. I'm going to look into that though, because that sounds amazing. The only way to know is just to go in and see, check it out. My guess is no, that sounds pretty particular. So, you can create your own template. So you could totally do that. The same way I taught you to customize a template, you could create your own. Yeah. One of our customer service reps, her name is Holly. She uses Plottr for all of her nonfiction books. And she has all these cool things she does. I only use it for fiction, but it's really neat. So yeah, I'm sorry I don't know the answer to that, but I bet you could play around and see. And you can always suggest to Plottr things. I know they're working on the nonfiction angle too. But yeah, Plottr is completely customizable for nonfiction as well. Okay, so if you have any more questions, guys, what I suggest you do is join the Facebook Plottr group because it's all over the world. So if you're working at 2 a.m, there's bound to be somebody over in Barcelona, Spain, maybe me, working, and I keep it up, and I might see your question and be like, oh, I know the answer, I'll tell her. Another way to get your answers is to go to Plottr. There's a whole lot of templates and videos and stuff. YouTube is a great source. We've got hundreds and hundreds of videos about Plottr on YouTube, including classes we've run that are up there. Even this YouTube link will be up there for like a week until the next one takes its place. Everything is on YouTube. You could go to and say, how do I customize a template? And up will pop a video. So that's another great way to do it. You're welcome. You're welcome, even though I didn't give you the answer. I'm so sorry, but I am totally looking into that. That sounds so cool. And the other way that you might do that is if you get stuck, you've tried all those different things, you can't find it, go to customer service. They're real people. No, they're not AI. And no, they're not going to give you a silly little chat, which drives me crazy. But no, they're real people and they get back to you right away. In fact, one time Holly came on one of my classes. She was just hanging out there. I didn't even notice her. And somebody said, I'm having this problem with my plotter. It's doing this weird thing. And Holly said, stay on after class. She sent her a Zoom link. She got on. She looked at the woman's plotter and knew right away what was wrong and told her how to fix it. So they're amazing. Don't hesitate to reach out to them. I think Plottr like Trello for books. I think Plottr like Trello for books. I don't understand that sentence. Trello for books. You know some cool things, Vicky. This is what happens when you hang out in your little fiction world and you know nothing about other kinds of writing. But she's given me some things to research. All right, well, that is actually it for the class. I don't want to dump anything else on you. But you can go and look at more classes out there, and you're welcome to come join my class. Kind of the same thing every Tuesday because I try to get as many people familiar with this as possible. Go check out Family Tree. It looks really cool. I'm about to go check it out because I actually have a very complicated disease in my book that travels through families. So I got to decide who I'm going to inflict that disease on. We're such sick people, writers. All right. Well, the best piece of advice I can give you is do not wait to look this over again and take notes. Do not wait to jump right in and get your Plottr and do Plottr. Regular Plottr backs up on your hard drive and only you can use it. And the other Plottr, Plottr Pro, allows you to collaborate with people and share files. Also, it can back up. It backs up to the cloud, but you can also play with the settings and have it back up to your computer as well. Either way. So that's how that works. So yeah, go play, have fun, and just dive right in and get that book done, okay? Get that book done. I wish you guys the very best of luck. Okay. Oh, that's so cool. All right. I'm getting a copy of the chat after this, and I'm looking up all these things. Thank you for sharing that, Vicki. Okay, guys, go write, have fun. It's been a pleasure teaching you, and I hope that you took something away from this class. Take care. Over and out.